In this video, we'll be demonstrating parts of the Anovis viewer interface. To create a viewer once you've loaded a .ame file, you can go to the Configuration, Viewer Connection. If you want to display just the buffers that have data in them, you can use this Hide Empty Buffers button. You can also toggle between which type of data you have, such as whether you have a color map sonogram or a vector curve. From there, you can right-click on a desired buffer and select the Add Viewer, then choose the type corresponding to the display you would like. You can arrange the different viewers using the tab buttons on the top and to the side, as well as using the Window Fix option. This will display the individual window panes, such as here we have a sonogram on top of an order spectrum. So if we use these toggle buttons to change between the order spectrum and the sonogram, this changes which one is on top, and similarly if we use the side. To zoom the axis within a display, you can either change the settings manually, such as by right-clicking, going to Viewer Settings, and then changing the X values and the Y values. Or you can use the scroll wheel to zoom in. If you scroll while on a specific axis, that axis will be scrolled. Whereas if you go in the center, it will scroll the entire plot. When you're scrolled in, you can double-click to return to the outermost view. You can also pan once you are scrolled in by left-clicking and then dragging. By pressing and holding the Control key while using the left mouse button, you can drag and draw across a box, and it will zoom into that region. The blue cursor can be moved using the left mouse button, either by clicking on a new area or dragging to a different location. If you hold the Shift key down while clicking or dragging, it will instead move the red cursor. These two values can be seen in the legend, where the blue value will affect the first X and Y, while the red cursor will affect the second, and then the difference between the values will show in parentheses. We can change these cursors to be harmonic by right-clicking on the plot and then selecting Extra. The harmonic cursor's main frequency can be moved using the primary cursor. Its secondary ones can be moved by pressing and holding the scroll wheel. Similarly, for our red cursor, we can use Extras and add a harmonic cursor. Then we can hold the Shift key to reposition it, and the Shift key and the scroll wheel in order to change its scaling. If we want to add a marker, we can right-click and go to the Marker option. We can designate a new name, and then if you click on the cursor button, it will auto-populate the locations of the main blue and red cursors. You can also edit this manually in order to choose a location for your marker. When you have multiple buffers in the same display, the tolerance will be shown in a dotted color of the same line as the curve that it corresponds to. Here we have our two different buffers, one blue, one red, and the tolerance for the first buffer in dotted blue. We can also use the page up and page down keys to scroll through our curves. Here we can see our second buffer, and here we can see our first buffer. You may notice that since we now have one singular button in the curve, instead of being dotted in the same color, our tolerance is going to be in red. Then pressing page up once more returns to the full view. We can control how many buffers are in our display using the configuration. This table has a column for each viewer and a row for each buffer. We can double-click on an entry to add or remove it from our buffer.